Robert Durham. Most Americans live within a short drive of a Dollar General store. There are more than 14,000 of them across the country. First of the dollar stores, it pioneered a sector of the economy that thrives even in the toughest times. Former CEO Cal Turner Jr., the son and grandson of the company's founders, was charged with taking Dollar General from a small-town, family business headquartered in Scottsville, Kentucky, to Wall Street and the Fortune 500. He details the journey, and the ensuing family turmoil, in his new book, My Father's Business, The Small-Town Values That Built Dollar General into a Billion-Dollar Company. Center Street. How did Dollar General get to be such a huge part of the American landscape? My father and grandfather knew country folks, because that's what they were themselves. They knew the struggles and common-sense decisions necessary in small, rural communities. So when they began opening general stores in small towns, they knew that basic value was the key. Give people things they need, and at prices they can afford. And then your father took what you call in the book, the step that changed everything. Yes. I was 15. My father had been studying the big department stores in Nashville and Louisville, and he took special notice of the huge newspaper ads they took out for their dollar days, featuring merchandise at one price point, $1. He knew they must make a lot of money from those sales to pay for the ads. Why couldn't we open a store that did that every day of the year? He thought. His colleagues said it was a crazy idea. But he was a gutsy, seat-of-the-pants entrepreneur, and he knew better. The first Dollar General store opened in Springfield, Kentucky, in 1955, and the crowd was so big they had to let people in a few at a time as others left. He had a hit on his hands. By the time I came back from the Navy in 1965 to go to work for the company, there were more than 100 Dollar General stores. Your grandfather had quite the story, and you talk about the leadership lessons you learned from him. Leadership lessons and life lessons. Luther Turner was 11 when his father died. He dropped out of school in 3rd grade to work the family farm and help support his family. He was a hard worker with a great common sense, but he assumed for the rest of his life that everybody he met was smarter than he was and that he could learn something from everyone. That became part of my leadership style. I was the boss's son. I was always aware there was a junior at the end of my name. People would assume I had more knowledge and power than I actually had. I let them know from the beginning that I needed their help, their input, their knowledge and experience. Bossism was never my style. I wanted us to empower everyone from the boardroom to the newest store to be part of making ours a better company, one that was always striving to give the best value to our customers. Success wasn't easy on your family. No, it wasn't. My father handed me the reins, though he was always looking over my shoulder, and entrusted me with moving the company forward. We were basically operating out of his gut in those days. We didn't have a board or consolidated financial statements or many of the other things a growing company needs. I wrote our first annual report, got leadership training, and began the process of moving us into the big leagues. That meant taking us toward an independent board and changes that my father didn't like. For example, he wanted no part of computers. We had to call them accounting machines just to get them in the door. And by that time, my brother was part of the company. He and I ultimately had different views on the company's direction, and we had what amounted to two factions within the company. I was the older brother, and we needed one head and one direction. In the toughest decision of my life, I fired him. It was gut-wrenching, and I'll always carry that with me. Even writing about it, 30 years later, was tough. Ironically, family trouble was then good for the company. Yes, it was. The board forced my father out and the family tension got so bad I suggested we sell the company. I thought my father would say no, but he agreed. I had the board put together a plan to strengthen the company and then sell it, building in incentives and rewards. They responded so well that the company prospered like never before in the 1990s and no one wanted to sell. A lot of people, including our family, did very well after that. Why did you write the book? Mentoring has always been important to me, and it's something I've done even more of in retirement. This book is my chance to share life and business lessons that will make a difference in good and bad times, things like the importance of human development, or the notion that the way to make better organizations is to shape better persons, or the notion that failure is not something to be feared but something to be utilized as a springboard to growth. My hope is that this book will transfer those lessons to each reader as an aid in his or her own journey. Rob Simbeck.